Hello, and welcome to Module 2. This module will provide information about the progress checks that are being written by Centerpoint for Montgomery County Public Schools. After this module, you should have a better understanding of the structure of the assessments, the timeline for when the assessments should be given to students, and a general overview of the content. Later modules will go into more detail on the specifics of each assessment. Anytime teachers are faced with a new assessment, they often ask important questions such as, what is the purpose of these assessments? How do these assessments connect to the illustrative mathematics curriculum? How many assessments are there throughout the year? How long are the assessments and how many items are there? How will these progress checks have the data analyzed and how will that data be used? What platform will we be used for the assessment and finding the data? And finally, when will I be able to see a copy of the exam? Our goal is that by the end of this module, all of these key questions will be answered. MCPS contracted Centerpoint to write the progress checks for the illustrative mathematics courses for two main reasons. First, Centerpoint has a working relationship with illustrative mathematics and is very familiar with the rigor and structure of the curriculum. Second, Centerpoint has previously successfully created assessments aligned to other state assessments such as PARCC. Note, these are not additional assessments, but are rather the progress checks that are part of the evidence of learning framework. The assessments are aligned to both the illustrative mathematics curriculum and the state assessment MCAP. As I mentioned, there's a key relationship between Centerpoint and illustrative mathematics in creating these assessments. Centerpoint has an existing relationship with illustrative mathematics. In creating the assessments, they use the MCPS scope and sequence materials for the different courses so that the material on the assessments aligns to our pacing. For example, in Algebra 1, MCPS moves Units 1 and 3 to the end of the school year, while Centerpoint's first Algebra 1 assessment normally includes materials from Units 1 and 3. Centerpoint created an alternative version for MCPS that focused on Unit 2 and part of Unit 4. Both Centerpoint and MCPS partnered in creating the assessments, and they both work with Performance Matters. That means that the assessments created by Centerpoint will be uploaded and available in the Performance Matters platform in a similar manner to all other progress checks. This also means that students will not have to learn a new platform in order to complete the assessments. And students should be familiar with many of the question types, as they will be the ones that are already within Performance Matters. More information on specific items will be shared in latter modules. So which courses are using the Centerpoint assessments? Well, the courses are Grade 6 Math, Accelerated Grade 6 Math, also known as AMP+, AMP 6+, Grade 7 Math, Grade 8 Math, and Algebra 1. Each course will have 3 different Centerpoint assessments. The first assessment will be the Marking Period 2 Progress Check. The second assessment will be the Marking Period 3 Progress Check. And the final assessment will be the Marking Period 4 Progress Check. It is important to note that each assessment is not cumulative. In the module's materials, we ask you to click on the document Centerpoint Assessment Information to access specifically which units and which standards are addressed on each assessment. Because the Centerpoint assessments were created on a trimester basis, the progress checks for marking periods 2, marking periods 3, and marking period 4 may not align with the end of the marking period. For example, the progress check for marking period 2 for most courses will occur around the 5th to 6th week of the marking period. Please know that our team will keep the test window open from the beginning point when the progress checks could be given to the very end of the marking period. The pacing calendars for each course have specific dates on when the progress check is planned. And the progress check for marking period 4 is optional at this time. Our goal is that by the time students take the MCAP assessment, they would have had the opportunity to practice high quality assessment items with material they've learned and will get some solid data on performance throughout the school year. Each Centerpoint assessment has a distribution of computer scored and rubric or teacher scored items. The computer scored items will use various tech enhanced items, whereas the teacher scored items will cover reasoning and modeling skills and come with a item specific rubric and sample student response. Each assessment differs on the number of questions based on the grade level and specific time of year students are being assessed. But in general, each assessment will have a range of 80 to 90% computer scored items and 5 to 10% reasoning and modeling tasks. MCPS pacing guides have allotted 2 full class periods for completion of each exam. Each exam will have a calculator and a non-calculator portion. As we mentioned earlier, the Centerpoint assessments will be provided through Performance Matters. Teachers will use the OLA student administration to give the exam to their students in the same manner that they gave progress checks. In addition, once all of the assessments are completed, teachers will be able to use the student item analysis report for data analysis on all the results of each exam. MCPS and Centerpoint are not creating practice exams related to the specific content of each progress check. However, we will be creating a practice exam that will allow students to interact with the different question types so that the logistics of answering the question don't limit students from finding success on the exam. The practice exam and the marking period 2 progress checks will be viewable by teachers no later than the end of the first marking period. You've come to the end of Module 2. This module was intended to give you an overview of the interconnection between MCPS and the Centerpoint progress checks. Please complete the check for understanding related to this module.